Namaskar everyone, I am Saurabh Kumar Singh and today I am going to talk about exception and modes in microcontroller. So let's begin. So before I move to my topic, I want to talk about microcontroller. So what is microcontroller? Here the 2 points are written. The first one is an integrated circuit, which is directing towards the definition of microcontroller. Actually, microcontroller is an integrated circuit, which is also a mini computer, which consists of a microprocessor and a lot of peripheral devices, which performs the different functions. Then the second one is the input calculation, storage, output, and control, which is the function of the microcontroller. Means a microcontroller can take inputs, do the calculation, store the result, give the output, and control all the flow of the program. So if I compare the microcontroller to the human being, as a human being has a processor which is brain and a lot of different organs which performs different works, like ear is used to listen, nose for smell, eye for seeing the objects. Like that only, microcontroller has one microprocessor and the different peripheral devices which perform different works. For example, if I take node MCU ESP8266, there is a microprocessor which name is Tensilia Extensa 32-bit LX106 RISC processor, and a lot of different peripheral devices like Wi-Fi antenna, ports, different pins, which is used to connect the another devices to that microcontroller, which has to be controlled by that particular microcontroller. So this is all about microcontroller. Now I'm going to move towards my topic. So what is exception? Here the 4 points are written. In 4 points, I am going to define exceptions. So the first one is unforeseen events. It is directing towards the definition of exception. Exceptions are the unforeseen events which happens during the flow of a program in the system, due to which an interruption occur and affect which affect the current executing program. Then the second one is disruption of flow, means that when the exception happens, the flow will be disrupted of the current program. The third one is program integrity. The means that if the exception occur, then the program which is going on will be saved. Then the system will be shifted to the interrupt calls. Okay, so by this the integrity of the program will be managed. The last one is error handling, which is also known as exception handling, in which if the exception happens or error happens in the systems, then that microcontroller also provides the error handling processes. There are different error handling processes to manage the different exceptions. Now, what are the types of exceptions? So basically there are four types. The first one is interrupt request, the second one is fault, the third one is supervisor calls, and the fourth one is reset. So what is interrupt request? The interrupt request is occurred by the peripheral devices, means it is occurred due to the external sources. Either it is done by the software or the hardware. If it is done by the software, it is known as software interrupt, and if it is done by the hardware, it is known as interrupt. Sorry, it is known as hardware interrupt. Okay, there are two types of interrupt request. One is normal interrupt request, and another is fast interrupt request. It can be done by the keyboard, mouse, and any external sources. The second one is fault. In fault, there are three parts. The first one is divided by zero. Second one is undefined instructions. The third one is stack overflow. Divided by zero is the common exception, which is also occur in the programming languages, and very similarly it is also happen in the microcontroller, in which the number can't be divided by zero, which will show the warning or the error. The second one is undefined instructions, means the library or the function are used in the program which is not implemented or supported by that particular microcontroller, then it will still show the error. The third one is a stack overflow, in which the if the memory of that particular microcontroller will be full, so still it will show the error and won't do any computation. The third one is supervisor calls. In this, a request also uh, comes from the external source to access the system or the system resources, which is known as supervisor calls. It can be occur by anything like printer, Bluetooth devices, and anything. The fourth one is reset. It occurs due to the power of sequences. You can say that it is the boot process happen in the microcontroller, then this particular exception happens. So this is all about the types of exceptions. Now the times come for the interrupt service routines, means ISRs. Okay, what is this? In this, there are three steps. The first one is interrupt trigger, second one is interrupt handler, the fourth one is task execution. So, what is interrupt trigger means? When the interrupt happens, then the microcontroller trigger the interrupt, means it is done by the ISR, interrupt service routine, which is already in the microcontroller. Then it trigger the interrupt and see into it what is there. The second one is interrupt handler. After seeing what is the request or interrupt from the sources, then it send the control to the interrupt handler, in which it handles the interrupt by stopping the current flow of programs. And after that, the task execution means once the interrupt will be handled, then again the task execution of the current program will be started. So this is all about interrupt service routines. Thank you.